A partial rebuild of a Stuart 10V steam engine. Part 1. The introduction and overview showing some of the problems with this engine that need rectifying. It was bought online via the auction site that we all know and love. But thankfully, it is not all bad news. Having a cursory glance at this engine, you could be forgiven for thinking that it's actually quite good. It's okay, I suppose. I have seen many that are far worse than this one. The first thing I notice is part of it, that should be cast iron, is made from brass, and this is not a good sign. The top part of the engine is weak, as the trunk guide has been a little bit over-machined, to say the least. That I can live with, but this is diabolical. It is, of course, the eccentric sheave and strap, and it's a rattle fit. On a lot of Stuart engines, in fact most of them, the eccentric strap is held in place on the sheave because the sheave has a groove in it and a bolt in the strap keeps everything in alignment, but that is not the case with this one. The job begins, as always with these type of engines, by removing the slot-headed grub screw that was already broken, and luckily I could remove it with a pair of pliers. The general engineering standard on this engine is a little bit sort of what I would term hit or miss. It's quite an old engine. Looking at the bolts, they have very deep heads. To hold the flywheel in place on the crankshaft, I've temporarily fitted a 5BA cheesehead bolt. This is only temporary. I think I will probably use a 5BA bolt, but it will be a hexagon head type. I've only been looking at the engine for about 30 seconds and I've found 3 fairly major problems. The crosshead collides with the gland nut. And on this type of engine, a gland nut is not a good idea. I'm trying to move this gland in an upward direction using the point of a screwdriver, but there's too much packing in there. A better idea is to make the gland from some bar stock, drill holes all around it, and then you can use a Tommy bar to tighten or loosen it. Even though this is only the introductory video, I am going to start the process of disassembly. And the first thing to do is to remove the gudgeon pin using a small screwdriver. I noticed that parts of this engine are made from brass that should be made from cast iron. More about that later. Here's the gudgeon pin, and I put it into the red box with all the other nuts and bolts that I'll be taking off the engine. The next thing to go into the red box, apart from the fittings, will be the eccentric strap and sheave. First of all, I remove the cross pin using an adjustable spanner on one side and a standard spanner on the other side. I was pleased to see that it was a parallel shank bolt, which is essential for this job. Never use a standard bolt that is threaded all the way down. I'll show you later in detail what the problem is with the eccentric sheave, but suffice to say, the little screw in the bottom is entirely wrong. Now it's time for a festival of bolt removal. The bolts all the way around that hold the cylinder head onto the standard need to be removed so I can separate the two parts. A good thing about this engine, possibly the only good thing about this engine, is that I don't have to mess about with the bottom half of it. I will need to sort of remachine the flywheel and clean it up a little bit to make it shine. But most of the bottom part of the engine is okay. Parts of this engine have been held together using a sealant that is really terrible stuff. But looking on the bright side, at least it's not silicone sealant. Here's the brass bit that should really be cast iron, and I can see it's very heavily packed with graphited yarn. I'll remove this shortly, but first of all I need to take off the eccentric sheave. It's held in place with a hexagon bolt that's been slotted, a strange thing to do. The eccentric sheave was quite a good fit on the crankshaft and I had to remove it using a pair of pliers. The bearings of this engine are in almost perfect order. There is no perceivable play on either end. And that really does make a change. This engine was fitted with a displacement lubricator, and I'm not sure whether it's a Reeves lubricator or an early Stuart type. It doesn't have a sealing ring, nor is it tapered, so I think it's probably an early Stuart one. As I was handling it, I noticed quite a lot of oil running everywhere, so I poured it out. This is not steam oil. I poured it out onto a piece of kitchen roll so you can see it. I'm now lubricating the bearings using the same kind of oil really, standard lubricating oil. And I'm also cleaning up the end of the crankshaft to make it shiny. When I spin the flywheel, you can see that everything's quite good. The flywheel looks a little bit off-centre as far as machining is concerned, but I can correct that. The number 10 series are very small engines, and I'm showing that I can't insert a scriber point. It's going to have to come apart. I'm not happy with the piston rod. Maybe I should make another one, or maybe I can get this to work. It was not a very tight fit on the crosshead. With the crosshead now unscrewed and removed, I can slide the piston and rod out of this brass part. And now I can remove the packing, which is graphited yarn. The lighter coloured yarn was the original. The darker coloured yarn had been fitted later. This is not the way to do it. If you're going to pack the gland, remove all the old stuff and repack the entire gland with some new. This clip shows the end of the piston rod where it goes into the crosshead. Not very well made at all. I don't know what this stuff is. It's all over the engine. It's some kind of sealant and it's very difficult to remove. I'm eventually going to repaint the cylinder before reassembly. There are one or two other things to do also. You'll see as the series progresses. Using a spanner, I removed all the nuts from the steam chest cover. Now it's time to remove it, and it's stuck fast. So I'm using the normal method of a Stanley knife blade. These blades are very high tensile steel and they snap easily. This, by the way, is the only gasket I found on the engine. Everything else is fitted together with some sort of glue. If you're doing this, always wear eye protection. In the next episode, I'll be removing the steam chest itself, but it's firmly stuck for the moment. I thought I would take off the drain cocks, because they're not in the right position anyway, and when I refit them, I'll use shim washers. Then they will be in the correct position relative to each other. That's it for this first episode. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.